Good morning, this is Shelby Law with the Great Basin Prescribed Fire and Smoke Briefing for Friday, February 20th, 2020. Our planned prescribed fire activity is shown here on this map, and we can see some activity there in Utah and eastern Nevada. Certainly the recent snow should help with some prescribed fire, especially power burns. All right, precip for the past 7 and 14 days is shown here. The past 7 days on the left, showing the precip that we've had with this recent storm, great winter storm. Unfortunately, the percent of normal for the past 14 days still shows a lot of areas that are coming in below where we would expect it to be this time of year over the last 2 weeks, and then certainly compounding the very dry January that we had on top of that. But snowfall over past 72 hours, again shown here on the left, we've got some decent amounts out there. The orange shaded areas are more in that 8 to 12 inches, and then the darker reds are closer to 30 to 36 inches. So definitely some heavy snow totals, especially in the higher elevations of southern Utah, northern Utah, and western Wyoming, and then in the Reno area as well, some really significant snow totals there. And then looking at the snow depth as a whole across the area, a nice covering of light snow across much of the Great Basin, even the lower elevations today. Snowpack is shown here, still not really making a big dent in the snowpack. We need multiple storms like the one we had this week, like on the order of 4 or 5 more in order for us to get back up to normal. But every little bit helps at this point. If we look at just the snowpack trends over time, this is for the central Utah, the higher elevations of central Utah basin here. We can see we've been sitting right around the historical minimums through most of the year so far, January and through February. And then just this last storm did give us a little bump upwards, but we're still in that lowest category compared to historical values. And the average for the time of year is this green line. So still quite a bit below average this year. All right, for the forecast here for today, the satellite imagery showing that low still in place across the Great Basin. We did have some overnight showers continuing over southern Utah, but for the most part, the showers are going to clear out today and through the weekend. So again, for today, that low moving off to the east, followed by a high pressure ridge building in for the weekend. We'll see clearing skies and warming temperatures area-wide. Ventilation rates are still pretty good today in Utah and Idaho. Again, those transport winds higher across eastern Utah today with some downslope winds associated with that low pressure system as it moves east. Those winds gusts are going to be 35 miles an hour, so maybe a little bit higher, 40 miles an hour. So definitely some gustier winds there in eastern Utah. Otherwise, lighter winds moving in from the west, and mixing heights are still pretty high across most of the area. Precipitation for today is going to be limited as the low moves off to the east. Just some lingering showers mainly over the higher elevations of central and southern Utah and into the eastern part of the state as well. Maximum temperatures are still on the cooler side, maybe inching back above freezing for many locations, but still cooler than average for the time of year. On Saturday, high pressure ridge building into the Great Basin for warming temperatures and decreasing ventilation rates. We'll see some wind speeds picking up in Idaho and Idaho and parts of western Nevada, but lighter winds in Utah. Mixing heights decreasing across Utah and Nevada. No precipitation expected for tomorrow as that high pressure ridge starts to build in. Temporarily, there is another system coming early next week. Minimum temperatures overnight are still going to be below freezing in most areas. On Sunday, again, the high pressure ridge generally still in place across the area for sunny skies and warming temperatures. We should see a lot of our low elevation snow melting off with temperatures popping back up. Ventilation rates are going to be on the lower end on Sunday underneath that ridge. Still some breezier type conditions hanging out over southwest Idaho and northern and northwest Nevada. Mixing heights really pretty poor on Sunday. Again, no precipitation expected for Sunday, and the maximum temperatures really rising pretty quickly here. Highs are going to be up to near 50 in Utah and Nevada, and even higher near Boise in the mid to upper 50s. So again, we should see a lot of that low elevation snow melting off this weekend. 3-day precip totals shown here again. This is mostly just today before we enter a couple of dry days this weekend. So as we head into Monday, the high pressure ridge starts to exit the area, and we'll see some moisture returning back to the northern portions of the area. Could see some precipitation to the central Idaho Mountains beginning on Monday. Ventilation rates still on the lower end across the area. On Tuesday, we'll see some more of that moisture spreading into the Great Basin. This moisture does have a little bit more of a southerly impact or southerly flow, so it's not looking for a lot of low elevation snow with this one. So still, we'll see the low elevation rain, high elevation snow with these warmer temperatures. On Tuesday, again, most of the precip will be on the northern parts of the area and into Nevada. And on Wednesday, we'll see the precipitation moving a little bit further east into Utah, northern and central Utah, western Wyoming. Ventilation rates improving by Wednesday. And then on Thursday, again, decent ventilation rates across the area, maybe a little bit cooler air moving in, and possibly some lingering precipitation into Thursday as well. Forecasted clearing index showing some decent values today with the wind speeds still lingering from the low pressure as it exits the area, and then decreasing clearing index for the next couple of days as the high pressure builds in. Precipitation for days 6 and 7, again showing that next system moving in. This is Wednesday through Friday, where we'll see precipitation mainly coming to the northern 2/3 of the geographic area. And then the 7-day totals generally reflecting that the bulk of the precip coming next week, just some lingering precipitation reflected from today in southern Utah. And then the 7-day snowfall forecast. The snow in southern Utah is really just what we had yesterday into today, but the forecast for this snow across the northern area is what we're expecting midweek next week, beginning really Tuesday through Thursday timeframe. And the extended forecast for February 27th through March 5th brings some warmer temperatures back to the area, and maybe a better chance of some drier conditions across the south. So we will look for that. That concludes today's briefing. Please check back on Monday for the latest updates.